say I'm late, therefore I don't care. Those are the only apologies that we have received. The Chief Whip will also be here. I know that she has joined virtually.
Speaker, may I speak? It's me, Madam Dange.
Honorable Dilange.
Thank you, ma'am. I also indicated I'll be there physically, but I am virtual.
I can't hear you properly.
I indicated that I'll be there physically, but I am attending virtually.
Yeah, no, we got that as well. Thank you very much, Honorable Dilange. Thank you, honorable colleagues. Is there any member who wants to present an announcement? No announcement, thank you. In terms of Rule 79, subsection 1, MEC statements, we have not received anything. Member statements in terms of Rule 81, subsection 1, starting with Honorable Ndlovu.
Thank you, Speaker. In accordance with Rule 81, subsection 1, I, Honorable Tulani Ndlovu, tables the following member statement on the draft National Infrastructure Plan 2050 Phase 2. Madam Speaker, the National Development Plan Vision 2030 was adopted by Parliament in 2012 and envisages a decent standard of living through the reduction of poverty and inequality by 2030. It further identifies infrastructure development as a key enabler of socio-economic growth. This emphasizes that without infrastructure, no country can successfully thrive and can be economically stable and fully developed. As part of achieving the aspirations of the NDP of inclusive growth, the ANC-led government is developing the National Infrastructure Plan in 2 phases. The first phase was approved by Parliament in March 2022. The second phase of the plan is on public participation stage. We applaud the National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure for laying a foundation in ensuring that this country has well-developed infrastructure. We therefore request the citizens of Gauteng to heed the call of the department for the public comment on the draft National Infrastructure Plan 2050 Phase 2. Written submissions should reach the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure on or before the 9th of December 2022. Submissions can be delivered by the hand to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure at 256 Madiba Street, Pretoria Central, in Pretoria, or emailed to NIP2050 Phase 2 at dpw.gov.za. Should citizens have any challenges, the ANC-led government has parliamentary constituency offices that they can visit for assistance, or they can alternatively contact their public representatives in their respective communities. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dilange.
Thank you, Chair. The mandate of the Gauteng Legislature is to ensure that the most professional, efficient, effective and quality service are delivered to the people. That is our role, to represent the people of Gauteng, to receive the best possible services. We must hold the executive of Gauteng responsible to such service. The citizens of the province is our first priority. The executive needs public servants to execute their mandate through departments. And in the SOPA of 2022, the former Premier Makura reiterated the commitment of the Gauteng government to build capable and ethical province with the help of sound professional public service. He further indicated that stronger methods will be put in place for the recruitment of public servants, continuous professional development and lifestyle audits. The national framework towards professionalisation of the public sector was approved by Cabinet on 22 October 2022. The framework is welcomed as it provides for only professional, competent and qualified individuals to be in senior positions. This can eliminate the thousands of public servants that sit in senior positions without the necessary qualifications and are therefore cadre deployments, costing the province millions for failures in service delivery. It is Premier Lesufi's responsibility to see through the promise of the former Premier made to turn around the public service in this province, to develop a framework for the province for implementation, to identify strategies to really clear departments from the public servants that do not belong in their positions. Our public servants are supporting us to deliver our political mandate in these departments, are doing their jobs in the public interest, with objective judgment, public accountability, and the ethical conduct. I trust the reshuffling of the department will provide an opportunity to ensure that the very principle of the national framework is taken into account, as it is an opportunity to get professionals that can do the job because of their capabilities and not because of cadre deployment. We will certainly observe from our oversight role what the Premier will implement to clean his administration in the departments. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Nel.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we would all have taken notice that the Minister of Finance, Minister Enoch Godongwana, last week announced that the debt owed to the South African National Roads Agency, or SANRAL, for the e-toll program will be paid in full in an arrangement between government, nationally, and the provincial government. Though the debt has been taken over by the government and the management of e-tolls may be transferred to the provincial government, and the gantries could still remain operational. This will likely be used to pay for the percentage of the 30% that Gauteng needs to pay towards the debt of the e-toll system. We are concerned that the debt has ballooned quite considerably, and we warn that the Gauteng provincial government must not take over debt that is because of the negligence of national government and SANRAL, and only pay for the core debt that was generated for this program. It is kind of mind-boggling that e-toll system can still remain despite the initial debt for this unwanted system going to be covered by government in full. It is reasonable expectation that e-tolls must be scrapped, considering that the debt will be settled. Madam Speaker, I take note of Premier Lesufi's response to me on social media that the system will be scrapped as they will be engaging with National Treasury this week. However, I do call on the Premier to make this announcement as to how the costs will be covered and how it will not impact on the maintenance and the construction of provincial roads as soon as he has conducted his meeting with the Minister of Finance in this regard. We really need certainty about the future of e-tolls, and we cannot have it hanging with some people thinking that it might be scrapped and others not sure whether it's going to be scrapped. There's too much uncertainty around the system, and what we need is certainty as soon as the Premier has engaged with the Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Ndlovana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, our mission is to restore the dignity of our people, and it is our belief that there is no better way to do this than through ownership of land and housing property rights. Madam Speaker, houses are economic assets whose ownership could be used as collateral to assess financial assistance or used to explore business opportunities, as is currently happening with many case studies to learn from. Ownership further allows beneficiaries to use their houses as an economic lever to improve their circumstances by making additional income. Madam Speaker, this process of issuing the title deed will also facilitate the registration into the name of the housing beneficiary, ensure provision of security of tenure for beneficiaries, ensure their lives are continuously and economically improved through guarantee with title deeds. In essence, Madam Speaker, ownership of houses go beyond instilling a sense of pride and belonging to potential being used as an asset to build wealth. Furthermore, houses are social assets in sense that they can be transferred to descendants. They offer a sense of pride of ownership and as a sense of belonging to communities. On the 27th of October, Madam Speaker, MEC of Human Settlement and Infrastructure Development handed over a total of 250 title deeds to qualifying and deserving elderly people in Soshanguve Extension 4 in Tshwane. I therefore would like to urge the beneficiaries to safeguard their title deed and use them to improve their livelihood. Madam Speaker, we remain committed to restoring the dignity of ordinary South Africans in line with our Constitution. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kekane.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. In terms of Rule 81, subsection 1 of the standing rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, I, Rufilo Kekana, wish to make a statement on the launch of the anti-substance helpline in Gauteng. Madam Speaker, the longest-serving president of the ANC, President Oliver Reginald Tambo, had the following to say, and I quote, "The children of any nation are its future, and a nation that does not value its children and youth does not deserve its future," close quote. Madam Speaker, on the 25th of October 2022, the ANC-led Gauteng government took a bold step towards addressing President O.R. Tambo's concerns. The Gauteng government made history by tackling substance abuse, particularly the predominant Nyaupe, head-on by launching a 24-hour anti-substance abuse call center service, which is led by trained call center agents to address the rising intake of drugs in communities around our province. The main aim of the center is to intensify the fight against substance abuse by working with the Department of Health and Wellness in Gauteng, as well as the Departments of Social Development, Agriculture, Rural Development, and Environment. Madam Speaker, as someone who closely works with the youth, I have first-hand experience of how our youth are affected by substance abuse and mental ill health, and how families are negatively affected by this. It is for this reason that I'm happy that this platform will give families, especially parents and caregivers, an opportunity to make applications for children and young addicts to be admitted at state rehabilitation facilities for treatment. It is very important to note that this service accommodates both first admissions and readmissions. Madam Speaker, for information of the Gauteng residents, the anti-substance abuse hotline is as follows. It's 0800 228827. I hope that the residents of the province will make use of this line. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mpisi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hereby serve notice in terms of Rule 81.1 of my intention.
No. We're still on Rule 81, subsection 1, member statement.
Order, okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Starting from yesterday, October 31st, 2022, more than 923,000 students are expected to write their final matriculation examination. Most of them are in Gauteng with over 194,000 candidates, up from 175,000 last year. Noting that the class of 2022 had a difficult time as the COVID-19 pandemic hit while they were in their preparatory years in grade 10. Madam Speaker, we applaud the tenacity shown by these candidates and wish all of the Gauteng matriculants candidates well as they sit for their final examination. Madam Speaker, the ANC subcommittee also wishes to commend the Gauteng Department of Education on the sterling work they have done in order to be ready for these exams. We applaud the department for providing assistance to the class of 2020 since the beginning of the academic year. Madam Speaker, we can confirm that all subjects underwent the baseline assessment at the start of the year to identify any learning gaps and potential content that may have existed and may have not been addressed during grade 10 and 11 years. We are therefore confident, Madam Speaker, that the 2022 matric class received sufficient support to cover all angles of the curriculum. Speaker, it is common knowledge that our country is currently under a spell of the worst power cuts ever. But as a subcommittee of the ANC in our caucus, we are pleased with the backup preparations in the event of power cuts as reported by the department. We note that the CAT and the IT laboratories are being urged to ensure that they have generators to serve as a backup in the event of power cuts, and that ESCOM and City Power have been informed of the important dates on which CAT and IT practical exams will be held to minimize the power cuts. Madam Speaker, as the Gauteng government led by the African National Congress, we believe we have done enough and we have done a good job of preparing the candidates for their last year of formal schooling. We can only wish them the best of luck as they sit for their final examinations going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes member statement in terms of Rule 81, subsection 1. Motion without notice in terms of Rule 120. There is none. Notice of a motion in terms of Rule 121. Honorable Mpisi.
Okay. I am Member Mpisi, the chairperson of the Education Portfolio Committee, hereby nominates Honorable Lesego Makubela to be a member of Parliament and the Political Office Bearers Pension Scheme in terms of the Members Parliament and Political Office Bearers Pension Scheme Act of 1984. I so move.
Honorable Mpisi moving. Honorable Msimanga.
I rise to second, Madam Chair.
Seconding, I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say no.
Yes.
The ayes have it. The motion is adopted by the House. The second motion, Honorable Mpisi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I, Member Mpisi, the chairperson of the Education Portfolio Committee, hereby nominates Honorable Lesego Makubela to be a member of the Legislature Service Board in terms of Section 4.1 of the Legislature Services Act number 6 of 1996. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Msimanga.
Madam Speaker, I, Solim Simanga, do second the proposal. Thanks.
Honorable Msimanga seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted by the House. We're now on questions for oral reply in terms of Rule 134. Honorable Hoffman to MEC for Community Safety.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With regard to the answer the Honourable MEC gave related to Inquiry 03112/2010 PS073, can the MEC confirm with proof that the above-mentioned firearms were booked in at the Welbekend Police Station, 13th store, and reported as per SAP's SOP to province? How did the CFR Central Firearms Register, and to what persons did they give instruction to confiscate these above-mentioned firearms? And thirdly, what was the reasons for finding the property unsuitable And what is the association between Velbekend and Captain De Vos? Thank you, MEC. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I hope I'm audible. I'm in a very noisy place. I'm also at the GPV Summit. In response to a question from Honorable Hoffman, the answer to question number 1 is yes. It is confirmed that the firearms were booked in and recorded in the Velbekend SAPS 13 register and store. In responding to question number 2, on how did the CFR register and to what persons were these instructions given? In response, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations, the DPCI, and Central Firearms Registry investigated the property and gave the instructions that the firearms are to be confiscated. In responding to question number 3, on what was the reason for finding the property unsuitable, the response was that the property was found unsuitable because it was still under construction and was not registered as a firearms dealership and unsuitable for the safekeeping of the said firearms due to the large quantity of that ammunition. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Any supplementary question, Honorable Hoffman?
I am covered. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Siyabonga, MEC.
Thank you. The next question, Honorable Bloom to MEC for Infrastructure Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With regard to 45 Commissioner Street, which houses the head office of the Gauteng Health Department, will the MEC please indicate what was the cause of the fire in the basement on 3 October this year? 2, is this building fully compliant with occupational health and safety legislation? 3, if not, in what respects is the building not compliant? 4, why has a certificate of compliance never been shown to the unions who have asked for it? And 5, what is being done to ensure that this building is fully compliant with all safety standards and is fit for occupation by staff? Thank you.
On behalf of Honorable MEC Maile, Honorable Kumale will respond. I know that he's been struggling to connect.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Bloom. With respect to question Roman figure 1, the response is the cause of the fire was due to prolonged load shedding experienced in the past few months, which caused damage to the electrical circuit breakers through which electricity from Johannesburg City Power is transmitted into number 45 Commissioner Street. As a safety measure, City Power disconnected the electricity supply to the building. Electrical supply was then fully dependent on diesel-powered mechanical generators. Upon inspection, the finding was that the generator was emitting extreme heat, which then activated the fire suppression system, where the sprinklers near the 500 kVA generator was active and there was a water spraying from sprinklers. With respect to question Roman figure 2, the response is, prior to the incident of the 3rd October 2022, the building was fully compliant. Post the incident, the certificate of compliance electrical has since been issued. Comprehensive strength testing of concrete was conducted and the structural engineer confirmed the structural integrity report. Occupation hygiene assessment, meaning air quality, water quality, and noise surveying was also conducted. The test confirmed that air, water, and noise surveying were satisfactory. Roman figure 3, the response is, we refer to the Roman figure 2 above. In terms of Roman figure 4, the response is the department is not aware of the request from the unions that they need to be shown the certificate of compliance. However, the certificate for compliance can be made available to the union if required. Roman figure 5, the response is, after the building was affected by fire, the cables were damaged and subsequently replaced, an electrical certificate of compliance was issued and temporary generator was installed as an intervention mechanism. As part of compliance, a comprehensive strength testing of concrete was conducted and the structural engineer confirmed the structural integrity. The City of Johannesburg Fire Inspector conducted the inspection and was satisfied that everything is in order. As stated above, the occupational hygiene assessment was also conducted. The tests confirmed that air and water and noise surveying were satisfactory. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honourable Bloom.
Thank you. Any supplementary question or a short remark, Honourable Bloom?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. No, I thank the Honourable MC for that reply. It's just of great concern that there was a potential fire in the whole building and at the Gauteng Health Department. We know from the Bank of Lisbon building that we need to be especially cautious. I'm glad that the building is fully compliant. I have to say there's a lot of concern from the staff there and the union, so there needs to be better communication, and I think they do need to be shown the temporary certificate. Just an observation, the new MEC for Health on her first day in office had to work remotely because she couldn't occupy the building. That's how serious this incident was. Thank you.
You want to comment, Honourable MC?
We're noting the comments from Member Bloom. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Next question, Honourable Baden-Horst to MEC for Social Development.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, Speaker. MEC today marks almost 3 years MEC today marks almost 3 years since the habilitation award was awarded to the nurses case PSH. Oh man. Oh, yeah, it's the right one. Sorry about that, Speaker. Nurses case PSH 77/16/17 at a social development officer situated on the first floor, the Farm Building Corner Commission in Simmons Street, Johannesburg, MEC. It is a known fact that drugs have become a serious issue in our communities, and most of the youth and even households are perishing because of drug dependency. With this in mind, MEC, how many people are being sent to a drug rehabilitation center? And may we have the stats in writing? How many do we, question number 2 is as follows: how do we get the people that voluntarily comes to help into the rehabilitation center? Number 3, what type of assessment is being used to determine that a person can only be allowed to be there for 3 months and afterwards being sent back to the community without any results? Number 4, why can we not extend the time frame so that we can be of assistance, of great assistance to the communities of South Africa, so that the Batopelic principle will be meaningful? Thank you, MEC.
Honourable MEC.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just in response to the question as received, and thank you very much. With regards to how many people are being sent, apologies. With regards to how many people are being sent to a drug rehabilitation center, the number of people assessed inpatient treatment services at funded treatment centers in the year 2019-2022, it was 9,827. In the year 2020 and 2021, it was 6,709. In the year 2021 and 2022, it was 7,363. With regards to question number 2, how do we get the people that voluntarily comes to help into the rehabilitation center? The response, the department drives the implementation of the GCR, Anti-Substance Abuse Social Movement Campaign, Keep It 100, and the Gimoja Prevention Program to reduce the demand for drugs and to escalate persuasive prevention of substances. These events also inform communities about the availability of treatment services. The department also has branded vehicles for sharing contact information for voluntary admissions. With regards to question number 3, screening is being conducted to determine the nature and severity of the substance use disorder before service users are admitted to the treatment centers. A comprehensive psychosocial assessment is also conducted, and the report is drafted and submitted to the treatment center to determine the most appropriate treatment intervention. An individual development plan is drawn at the beginning of treatment, and it is monitored and reviewed throughout the treatment process. And lastly, the treatment episode can be extended based on the individual's treatment plan and the progress of the service user. As it pertains to the last question, Madam Speaker, our inpatient treatment is a small component of the recovery process. The treatment program is evidence-based and continually reviewed. Aftercare is the biggest part of the recovery process, and therefore the success of treatment is seen through maintained sobriety and not necessarily the extension of a single treatment episode. Most facilities implement a 6-week, while others do 9 weeks of the program and others 12 weeks of the program. The stage of change of each person with the substance use disorder has a great impact on their motivation to complete the treatment and to work on the success of their recovery. The treatment episode can be extended based on the individual treatment plan and the progress of the service user. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, MC. Any supplementary question or a short remark, Honorable Berenost?
Speaker, thank you. The thing is this, Speaker, you know, people are suffering outside because these people go for 3 months to a rehab. It doesn't matter, even the state doesn't even have an aftercare center where the people can go to after this 3 months, because you can't let people dry out for 3 months and think now they are healed and they can go back to the communities. It makes the situation worse, because like people come back from their 3 months treatment, and when they get back into drugs again. So I think social development must really, really, really rethink this and make sure that this Batupele concept works, because people must be healed, because you can't go to keep on sending people back for the same thing. I mean, it's a waste of money in the first place. So the fact is, can we extend this people's treatment for 6 months or even up to a year? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable MEC, do you want to respond?
Yes, Madam Speaker. I think the members' concerns are well articulated in the briefing and the engagements that our Premier has had. We indicated and cited that primary to the work that the department will be doing is to deal quite aggressively with substance abuse, appreciating that it is something that has increased over time. So our approach, 1, deals with prevention, 2 is the rehabilitation, and thirdly is the law enforcement aspect of the work that we're doing. And in terms of rehabilitation, which is where Member Berenost has focused largely on, we can indicate that indeed our Premier has indicated to us that the treatment ought to be 6 months, and that as part of the rehabilitation process is for skills development to take place, because as she correctly has a concern, is that we don't want people to continue to relapse. And so as part of the skills development that is put together with the detoxification and so forth that they have to go through, we seek to redirect their energies away from what is currently negative activities with engaging in substance abuse, so that they are able to find themselves through the different skills development programs that we have. And that is the motivation behind the lengthened process. But we certainly can indicate also, Madam Speaker, is that we are massifying on this work. And that is why the Premier, as you would have seen, would have launched the call center, as it were, currently, which is receiving quite a number of calls. But in addition to that, our teams are on the ground to communicate with those that don't have access to cell phones and so forth, or they're not able to call, but we're able to interact with them on the ground, and we're working with various communities in that regard. So, Member Bernos, this is really, my input is really just to give you comfort that we assure you that this administration is led by our Premier is taking seriously the issue of substance abuse, and it's definitely something that is top of our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, Honorable Mabala to MEC for Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I, Honorable Mabala, of the Economic Freedom Fighters, hereby, in terms Rule 126, 130 and 133, place a question for oral reply to the MEC for Health, Honorable Ntombi Mekgwe, with regards to the resignation of a renowned breast cancer specialist, Surgeon Professor Carol Ann Ben, on the 30th September 2022 at Helen Joseph Hospital, who, upon her resignation, leaving Helen Joseph after 17 years has been a struggle. There was harassment and an obstructive workplace culture that made our daily working lives impossible. But I can't spend my time getting into trouble trying to find solutions, close quote. Why, with this in mind, would the MEC please respond to the following questions? Number one, how does the department feel about the loss of expertise and dedication the professor has provided to cancer patients throughout her 17-year relationship with the health institution in the province, with Helen Joseph currently treating 400 to 550 breast cancer outpatients and between 20 to 30 patients booked for surgery per month? Number two, with regard to number one above, serious allegations, instead of just issuing a statement that one employee has resigned. In your response, MEC, please provide details of the investigation, and if no investigation was conducted, please indicate why not. Number three, prior to Professor's resignation at Helen Joseph Hospital, did the hospital CEO and or the department previously receive any complaints from health professionals regarding inconducive workplace culture and worsening working conditions? In your response, if yes, please indicate what steps did the department take to remedy the situation. Number four, with regards to the above, how does the department plan to fast-track treatment of both outpatients as well as those booked for surgery at Helen Joseph Hospital without referring patients to other hospitals and overburdening the already struggling hospitals with cancer patients? And lastly, number five, what is the department's plan to fill the gap left by the breast cancer clinic volunteers who left in solidarity with Professor Carol Ann Ben? In your response, please indicate the potential impact this exodus of volunteers is going to have on breast cancer care at the hospital. Thank you.
Honorable MEC.
Trying to check, because this question that she's asking, it was not for oral reply. The one for oral reply, that one is a written reply which I've submitted. The one for oral reply, Member Mabala, that you have asked me, is the one that talks about the issue, yes, use of Dadu of a patient that passed on.
No. That's not mine. I asked this question.
Mabala.
Maybe we should.
Honorable Mabala.
You have asked me the
Honorable
question.
MEC. Honorable Mabala.
Can
No, Honorable Mabala, please, Honorable Mabala, you don't have to respond. Yes. We're still checking.
Yeah.
think the one that she's reading is a written question. It's this one here. Yeah. Honorable Mabala, HL 029 is about Yusuf Dadu, District Hospital. Can you confine yourself to that one?
Well, Madam Speaker, I sent this question that I've asked. I've sent it. I can even forward your office emails regarding the question. I don't know anything about Yusuf Dadu. I don't know what the question for Yusuf Dadu entails. It's probably an old question. I don't know. But maybe the proceedings can give us direction, because as far as I know, I have even I have people who can back me up within my caucus, our caucus secretariat, and our researchers. We send this particular question to proceedings. I don't know why they put the Yusuf Dadu question, because this is the question that I'm asking today. This is the relevant question for today, Madam.
Honorable Mabala, I'm sure what we'll do, we'll go back and investigate. But for now, remember what we need to be discussed in this sitting is what was also circulated in the other paper for today. So unfortunately, if that is a misunderstanding, we'll just check. It might happen that even your office sent a wrong question. Let's close that matter in that regard. But in the event we discover that you were correct, we'll try and correct. But remember, the order for today deals with that question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The next section is written questions for oral explanation and tabling in the House in terms of Rule 137, subsection 5. Let me indicate that in the previous sitting, I indicated that I understand that many MECs were still new from the box, and we understood the lateness of responses that we receive. However, we indicated that all MECs must go back and check all outstanding questions and should be able to assist. But at the same time, we indicated that there are deadlines to be met. All questions should be responded to before 4, a day preceding the sitting. I am aware that some of the questions that are indicated there have been responded to, except question HL 0134. Although all of them, some of them were late, including 0134, but we just want to get the understanding of the MEC for health. Why is that question not responded to or responded late?
I want to apologize, Madam Speaker, on behalf of the department that the question was not responded to on time by the department, because indeed there were quite a number of questions. I even spoke to the team in your office, because they were giving me last week, they sent me all the 14 questions that were pending. Then these 2, we don't know why they were left. And I think it was a mishap in our office. I want to apologize.
Okay. Thank you, MEC, because in future, if there's that misunderstanding, please make it a point that you send a letter direct to the Speaker or to the presiding officers for them to be made aware. Thank you very much. Can we therefore read the first order?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Committee for the Scrutiny of Subordinate Legislation Second Quarterly Performance Report for the 2022-2023 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you. The Acting Chair, Honourable Adams, will present the report.
Good morning, Honourable Speaker. Good morning, Honourable Members and the citizens of Gauteng. Allow me to present the report to the House this morning. The former chairperson of the committee, acting chairperson of the Scrutiny of Subordinate Legislation, Honourable D.K. Adams, tables the CSSL second quarter performance report for 2022-2023 financial year as follows. On the introduction, Honourable Speaker, the aim of the report is to evaluate the CSSL's quarter performance by comparing the committee's performance against the quarterly targets. The report is aligned to the committee's strategic objectives, namely lawmaking oversight and scrutiny, as well as stakeholder engagement. Moreover, the report identifies areas of weakness and provides recommendations when to ultimately achieve the annual objectives and targets as set out in the CSSL's 2022-2023 annual performance plan. Regarding the committee's activities, honourable members, in accordance with the CSSL strategic objectives, the committee's activities unfolded as follows. Lawmaking, in terms of the standing rules of the legislature and CSSL regulations are referred by the executive to the CSSL for scrutiny and consideration. However, in the quarter under review, no regulations were referred to the committee for scrutiny. Oversight and scrutiny, number 2. In the quarter under review, the committee conducted 2 meetings on the 12th of July 2022 and on the 11th of August 2022. On the 12th of July 2022, the committee convened as the following matters: revised 2022-2023 financial year committee ops and its budget, report on the overall performance of the committee of financial year 2022-2023, draft 2023-2024 committee ops and budget, and lastly, committee budget outcomes and financial review. On the 11th of August 2022, the committee convened a meeting to consider the following matters. 1, draft CSSL quarter report for the 2022-2023 financial year, draft to 16 September 2022, and interprovincial visit to KZN legislature proposal, and lastly, CSSL international study tour motivation. On stakeholder engagement, Honourable Speaker, in the quarter under review, there were 2 stakeholder engagement sessions which were conducted by the committee as follows. On the 11th, the session was held at Bracken High School in Alberton in Johannesburg. On the 18th of August, the session was held at performance of the committee. The CSSL has managed to achieve its quarterly objectives, namely lawmaking oversight and scrutiny and stakeholder engagement, as set out in the annual performance. In adoption of the third-term program, for the period of 25 July 2022 to 16 September 2022 was presented to the committee. The committee noted and adopted the third-term program as tabled. Conclusion, Honourable Speaker, the plans which were set out in the second quarter of the 2022-2023 financial year with regards to the implementation of the committee's strategic objectives have been achieved. Acknowledgements, special thanks are due to the following honourable members: M.H. Sirota, R. Robinson, K.C. Mazwi, T.E. Makagula, T.P. Malema, A.E. Ndlovan. The committee would further like to thank the following support staff for their dedication: Group Committee Coordinator M. Vas, Senior Committee Coordinator N. Lamini, Committee Coordinator C. Sinoka, Committee Administrator L. Amola, Manager Proceedings R. Chilone, Provincial Table Assistant K. Kosi Bitsebe, Manager NCOP Legal S. Mube, Legal Advisor Advocate Liza Madau, Committee Researcher S. Butalezi, Senior Information Officer N. Ntlebi, Communications Officer T. Mashifane, Ansat Recorder S. Baloy, and Service Officer P. Tima. On adoption, Honourable Speaker, after due deliberations, the committee adopted the second quarterly performance report for 2022-2023 financial year. In accordance with Rule 164, I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Although we miss you a bit, Honourable Adams, especially when you were asking us to adopt the report. But can I get a seconder to the report?
Member Malema, Madam Speaker, I rise to second the report. Thank you.
Honourable Malema seconding a report. I now put a question. All those in favour say yes.
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 All not in favour say no.
Yes.
The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Thank you very much. That concludes the business for today. Our next sitting will be on Tuesday, the 15th of November, 2022 at 10 hours sharp. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.